We're going to say to the fans, hey, we're live, everybody.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to the Lost Dollar Business Club, where we talk about business, and not just business. We talk about what makes businesses go up and what makes businesses go down. If you're interested in businesses, this is where it is. We talk about the global economy. We talk about global politics. We talk about everything and anything business related that affects your life on a global scale as well as a local scale. And don't miss after the show, Lost and Found. We're live.
Good morning, everybody.
We are indeed, yeah.
We are. We're really here. It's very exciting.
Evening, good morning, good afternoon.
In the midst, we've got, that's right. Well, we've got some of us on the show today. That's good. Good start.
We're all here. Last week, nobody could make it, apparently. They were too, David was getting oiled up by his Tahitian boys, and John's still hunting
I'm hunting for more baby oil, Stephen.
More baby oil, okay. So,
Yeah.
So David couldn't make it. John is still hunting for his Nazi gold, so at some point John will be back. Or unless he finds a Nazi gold, then maybe
he'll never come back.
He'll never come back because he'll be like, I'm too rich. Why would I come back to the show? So there you go. So we'll see. So that's it, kids. That's where we're at. So today's an exciting show. We're going to talk about stuff that you won't see on CNN.
You're definitely not going to find it on CNN. We got some big time stories here. Urgent warnings about stolen passwords and China talking about addictions among their young population.
If you eat their food, you're hungry an hour later. So, right there, that's a big addiction. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very true. All right, Michael, what do we have? Let's pay a bill really quick. We always forget to do this. And then before we do that, if you're watching or listening, don't forget to subscribe and like. And there you go. So here, let's pay a bill and then we'll get on with it.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bandicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bandicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
And talking about revolution, baby, it's coming.
Yeah, there's the topics that we were going to cover were generally about Africa and the Middle East because there's so much going on in those areas right now. But we could also start with something more mundane, but also something that's going across not just in China but across the world, which is this consumption of blind boxes, which is what kids are buying. Apparently, kids are buying these things online where these are just packages of randomly chosen toys or cards or goods around anime and games and idols. And this one was shared by David. It's an interesting story because apparently China's against it. The Chinese Communist Party is against it. Don't do it. They're saying don't.
They say it's gambling. That's what it is.
Listen, it's not gambling. It's just something stupid and cute. Somebody sent me a video about a month ago, and they were showing these kids that would buy the blind boxes.
Right.
And there's certain Pokemon cards they want or anime they want. Yep. And so out of like every 10,000 boxes, you'll get one. And then the one of the guys sent me something at a Comic-Con, and the guy's like, if you buy 2 boxes, you get a mystery box. You buy 3, you get 2. So it's a marketing ploy. And I think Barnum and Bailey said it best. There's one born every minute. So there you go.
Yeah. For every victim, there's a crime. That's what they say, don't they?
There you go. Yeah, but it's not a crime if you're getting something out of it. If you like when we were kids.
Oh, but they're getting random
disappointment.
Wait. Stop. This is ridiculous because this is this woke bullshit. This is the pansies going. No, it's not. When we were kids back in the day, you bought the baseball cards. Remember? Yeah. No, Michael wouldn't. He's too young. David, he's
baseball cards.
You would buy the baseball cards.
We never considered baseball to be a game of any interest to anybody.
Do you say it's gay? Don't say it's gay. The Mets can't help they can't win. Anyway, the baseball cards came wrapped up. You didn't know what you were getting with a stick of gum, and you get 5 or 10 of them. So we would do the same shit they're doing back in the 60s and 70s, and you would trade your baseball cards, and you would do this, and you would do that. It's the same crap. It's so instead of a blind box, it was a blind thing.
It's more advanced. Yeah.
My
Yeah,
first
well, no.
exposure to that, and
You're exposing
extremely
yourself?
bad,
Stop. It's not that show.
extremely
So,
bad tasting. Well, wasn't even chewing gum. It was probably something that somebody scraped up, some pink
off your
strip or
shoe.
something around. Yeah,
Yeah.
pink strip or something. Were all Beatles cards. So yeah, and so that's like mid '60s, I think. That's the first time
Well,
I'd ever sort of ever really seen that. But what was I then?
well,
Eight,
the
nine,
difference
something
is
like that.
the difference is China has this law on the protection of minors. So they're trying to protect their young people from any sort of gambling related, chance related purchases,
Listen, listen, Tolji,
which is where
you know,
they make all this stuff.
I
They
know,
make
right?
Yeah,
They used to want their
yeah, but
people
they
spending
put.
money on their own crap.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
that's all it is.
That's,
But like I said, when we were kids, we bought baseball cards and you didn't know what you were
that's
getting. Now, once in a while, you'd go to a store and they had a sleeve that you could see, like they had like a Vita Blue or this or that. And I remember I bought the one that had Vita Blue and all the other cards were shit. But I remember as a kid, you'd go into the candy store in New York and you would be there with the baseball cards. I forgot who they were made by. And you'd be like, oh, it's 25 cents for a pack. And you'd had $1
yeah,
like your mom or dad gave you. And you'd buy 4 packs and you'd open them up and you'd get like, I never heard of Plumsy Green or this guy or that guy, but then you get like a Tom Seaver and then this and then that. And you're like, oh, ooh, and it was the coolest thing. And it's to that. If you look at this blind boxing for anime and the Pokemon and all this other crap, it's the same shit. It's just they
yeah.
marketing it differently, and it's more expensive. It's not 25 cents or a
Actually,
dollar. It's
I
200.
have family connections who regularly buy Pokemon, regularly.
How
regular.
old is
Yeah, I mean like almost weekly. A pack
All right,
of
all right.
Pokemon cards.
That's
Yeah.
maybe a
You know,
bigger
just
problem.
That's
yeah. Well, it's but that's been one or two absolute gems in it. I mean, this
Okay.
one particular lady's collection, I think it's probably worth about $50,000 for all the things she's
Better,
picked
better,
up. I mean,
better sell out before it before it
It's worth
collapses.
no,
40,
I
it's
don't,
worth it's worth 40 or 50. She only spent 750,000 to get it.
no,
So
she's been doing it a long time. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but before the hype.
before
yeah.
that, listen, back in the 90s when Pokemon was first coming out, I remember the kids would go to Burger King and they would do this and they would do that and blah blah blah. Everything is cyclical because baseball really
Yeah,
isn't a
sure.
favorite sport anymore. They don't sell the cards. There's no general store or a candy store where kids can run in. Unless you're in New York, you go to
No,
Dillon,
no.
and they certainly don't sell baseball cards. But there's no place for kids to be kids. So for them now, it's like, okay, we'll buy a secret box, we
They
collect
got to
cards.
buy it from online.
Right,
Yeah,
because kids don't go outside and do shit. They're fat little lazy human flesh bags, and that's it. And that's why the end of the world is
Well,
coming.
don't hold back on your opinion here, Steve.
No,
no,
my doctor tells me I need to be more sensitive to people's feelings, and I pushed him out the window. So I'm feeling better. So, but my point is, like seriously, the kids don't go out and play. They watch whatever they watch anime all day. So all they know is Pokemon, but they don't trade baseball cards. I remember like on Saturday, you would trade baseball cards, or better than that, if a crappy card, you would take the clothespin, stick it in your bicycle tire, and you would ride the bike, and it would make that noise when you rode. Right.
yeah, yeah. That
You
was
two
fun.
literally look at me like the RCA dog. Okay, bikes or something with wheels.
No. It's
He
I
knows
mean,
it.
I only had two wheels on my bike. One was larger, the other one was slightly smaller, so that didn't really work. But,
That's when they first came out. I'm talking about when they
yeah,
progressed a little bit. We all had like
yeah.
the Schwinn.
But
I'm
we
just
have
saying.
probably about a couple of miles away from where I am here.
Right.
Is a store dedicated just to Pokemon. Just Pokemon cards. You
Really?
can actually go and just go in the store and buy whatever the one. Some of them are on display, or you just trade or whatever. So
All
it's
right.
still big business.
I guess.
But I
But
mean,
I'm just saying
it
this thing
changed
about
when
the
we had
mystery boxes.
the Panini football cards, or soccer as it is,
Right,
for
right.
you guys who don't know anything about football, soccer cards. But that's all gone online now as well. So they're all NFTs. So people are
Oh
collecting them.
no, oh no.
You see them all by certainly. I mean, if you watch any of the Italian football matches, there's always an advert for these Soros or something. They're actually a French company behind it, but they're selling these then through the club themselves as an NFT. another way of
Just so you know,
saying stuff.
Topps was the name of the company that made the baseball cards.
Topps made all the cards.
Topps. You know, Topps. I don't know if they're still around, but
Yeah,
it's
I
no
don't know what
different.
they're
So,
doing now,
but you see, there's something pure about sitting around with your friends or your mates or whatever and trading baseball cards or collecting baseball cards, and
Well,
like you all
maybe
get
that's what
together and
people
you
are
bring your
doing,
box.
Stephen.
Yes, every generation had their thing.
Maybe people
But
are
now,
trading boxes. Maybe you just go and
now
buy
they're
a
just
blind
trading
box.
boxes.
Yeah, and you take it to a blind boxing party, and well, why not? I mean, just I've got you just start handing them out to people.
Okay.
I mean,
Listen.
we don't know, do we? We're all of an age where we're not buying blind boxes.
We're not buying blind boxes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, we're not buying blind boxes, but it's very good. Well, listen, it is. Listen, whatever the generation, who knows what they're going to trade in 20 years from now? They'll be trading robots. So,
Well, speaking of robots, I mean the drone warfare is becoming insane, and it's spreading into Africa. It turns out. So, Africa and The Economist, they were talking about the proliferation of drones impacting wars for the Sudanese militia, for who else we got in here. I mean, of course, you know what's going on in Russia's war in Ukraine. You know, the drones on both sides. But in Africa, the same thing's happening in northern Ethiopia against rebel forces. I mean, this was going back even 4 years ago. And they're just saying that drones are shifting the balance of power everywhere.
I was just reading an article this morning about the Chinese. They now got they're doing away with missile launchers. They're now having these mobile platforms which are launching all these drones from that. So they don't need a platform anymore. They just boom straight off.
Well, that's what the Ukraine did. That's how the Ukraine destroyed the Russian fleet in Siberia. Some guy drove his truck to the base, didn't know the drones were there, and the spies just clicked the little button, and the drones took off, and they dropped their payloads.
They came out of the vehicle, but these have been launched like the mobile missile launch trucks.
Well, China did an air show with 11,000 coordinated drones.
It was beautiful.
11,000 coordinated drones. Yeah, and also to showcase their capability of managing drones.
Not like our military parade last week, which our guys apparently. Really funny. David's not the only one that's told me this. Because we deal with people around the world, and they go, "Did you see your parade?" And I'm like, "No," and they go, "Your soldiers can't march." Like they don't march.
I heard that was a protest march. That was
whatever it was. But and then you look at North Korea, you look at Russia, you look at China. When their soldiers march, they look crisp. They do, and blah, 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 blah. And our leaders, when they would show pictures of it, you had the Secretary of State yawning. Someone said Trump fell asleep. I'm thinking, if you're going to make a big whoop-de-doo, and you're going to do this,
you better do it right. You better look good.
You got to make it look like America has some power. Like if I'm an adversary, and I'm talking like a third world country no one's ever heard of in the middle of like the Arabian Sea, I'd be like, I can attack these guys. This is easy. I can do this. I mean, you got to make it look like.
I mean, there is something quite intimidating about watching all the North Koreans or the Russians, all in tight lines. I mean, we spoke about this on No Snobs and Knobs, I think, Stephen. But I mean, they get trained by somebody who has a large stick, and that's how they get disciplined into the lines. And
just so you know, we have a new fan watching the show. He's actually from Africa, so at some point we have to actually talk about Africa, I think. So,
we're touching on it. It starts with the drones, but I mean, in positive news, Angola is having its U.S. Africa Business Summit. That could be positive. They're chairing the African Union, and they're saying, look, they're trying to get Washington to talk about energy, trade, and infrastructure, which.
Have they not banned all people from Angola? Has Trump banned them all already? They're probably on the please don't come here list.
Yeah, there were talks of some bans.
Yeah.
No, the problem with this is that we cut back everything. So the U.S. government's not going to do squat, right? USAID, they already cut that. So things that would actually do for Angola, it's going to have to be U.S. businesses. There was an article that came out in the FT a couple of weeks ago, the top 25 startups to watch in Africa. And there was another one that came out last week in Europe that says the same thing. But it's very interesting. Most what's happening is because people are having a little bit of an uneasiness over here with money, are investing elsewhere and not here. So they are going to Africa and they are going to these other countries. So I think Africa is going to see what's going to happen with investment. Now they have to clean up their civil strife. That's a big thing. Like you can't have warring factions and trying to kill each other.
You could say the same about the US, because you're not. You know,
well,
I mean, come on.
we're not, yes and no. We're not at a point where we're having an internal civil war yet. Where Angola and some of these other countries, you know, there's clashing and fighting and whatever, and you know what I mean? It's like we have rebels and we have the government. We don't have people driving around shooting up stuff yet. We do in schools and malls and whatever.
Exactly.
But we don't have them going after like the government troops. Like no one's shooting at like in Los Angeles.
Well, they're fighting against ICE. They're fighting against.
Well, they are, but they're not shooting ICE agents. They're not driving by and like gunning ICE agents down. We're not doing that. So in these other countries, you know, and a lot of it, they're just like shooting and whatever. It's like they're bombing. We're not doing that. So in one respect, when you invest in like some of the African countries, you have to know your risk. And you got to get your political insurance. You have to do this. You have to do that. In other countries, you're like, oh, okay. Like investing in the U.S., these 70,000 people who paid $5 million for their Trump Gold Card to get in, right? They're looking at us as a stable way of life. Other people are going to Asia for that. Other people are going to the UAE, if you will. So it just depends. But there's parts of Africa that if they can straighten themselves out, that will probably be more economically powerful than us. Because if their continent got together, they'd be huge. They'd be like India and China.
Yeah. But I mean, the way that it's all got carved up by, you know, by some British diplomat with a ruler and a pencil, just said, okay, this belongs to him. Oh, you know, what do you mean, like Cyril Rhodes? He even had his own country, Rhodesia. Just right. We'll just put a pencil through it, and that's half of the problem. I think that in Africa, that the borders are so not aligned to the people that live on either side of them. Some cultures are cut in half. Others are butted up against people that they've always had problems with. It doesn't help, and it's a huge money pit, isn't it? I mean, there's been billions and billions and billions of dollars poured into Africa for aid, and that's probably sitting in somebody's little
there's been a lot of
in a Swiss bank somewhere. You know,
it hasn't always gone into the places that it was determined to defined to go into.
Right.
No.
That's true.
But so that's the world. Yeah.
And there's the issue at the moment in Europe, as everybody was saying, like there's loads of immigrants coming from Africa into Europe, trying to get into Europe. But I mean, you know, European industries have destroyed such vast swathes of Africa, have caused a lot of climate issues, and people can't live anymore. They can't farm anymore. They can't fish anymore. So economically, they're all being pushed further and further north. Excuse me. So that's the other issue in Africa. You know, it has been, you know, it's being continuously raped for all its natural goodies, for want of a better word. And and that money's not staying in Africa. It's going to the Russians. It's going to the
Chinese.
The Belgians for the chocolate. It's going to the Chinese, etc. So
World War II, it's going for the chocolate. What do you think of nylons too? It's going for the chocolate and nylons.
But I mean, the Belgians have a big hold on the chocolate monopoly in the world.
And unfortunately, no place. There's no Shangri-La, right? Some places are better than others. Africa's been trying to right itself for years. And there's these smaller countries in Africa that no one ever talks about and that no one's ever heard of that are doing great. And you look at something like a South Africa, and they have tons of trouble, and you know everybody knows who they are. So I think it's one of these things. It's something I said on another show. Until the 8 billion people on the planet decide that we're all going to get along and all try to prosper together, nothing's going to be. It's going to be what it is. You're going to have
it's pretty tough. Yeah.
You're going to have civil strife.
Do you think that a world dominated by white people want people of color to have that much power and wealth?
Why not? Who cares? Who cares who has power and wealth? Everybody. It should be an equal thing. power and wealth shouldn't be
Color based.
It shouldn't be color or gender based. Well, maybe gender based. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, power and wealth should just be if you come up with your widget and you make $1 trillion, knock yourself out.
But that presumes a free market, and we've had increasingly a crony market.
All of markets now,
right? So it's problematic. But if you look at one thing about Africa is Trump is shutting down a lot of funding to Africa for malaria research, for dollar trades, and so what they're in part trying to do is create their payment system among African neighbors. So they have the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System. Right. And I mean, there's just going to be more trade away from the dollar if this keeps up, which is not good for U.S. dollar holders, obviously.
Well, Africa's had this mobile company. I always forget the name. They started in the 90s, and they've been, if you will, doing digital payments with their own currency since the 90s. And I can't remember the name, and I really wish I could. So maybe the people in the comments that are writing now, if you guys can give us the name of that company, that'd be great. So they've already started this. China said the other day, because of what's going on in America, that the RMB, if America keeps going the way it's going, is probably going to end up being a global currency. I don't know if I agree with that. It's interesting that China's saying they're more stable than everybody else. And they're not talking about BRICS. They're not talking about that make-believe. Right. We're all going to have they're just talking about the RMB in general. And if they start stepping up their game and get away from a few things, they may not be far off, because it's the second most traded and used currency in the world. Yeah. Everyone's reading the comments from the guys.
I'm not sure that we want to support that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I'm not supporting it. I'm just saying it's whatchamacallit. That's just what it is. Yeah. Just remember, empires, superpowers, however you want to look at it, every 50 to 150 years change, right? Because if you want to start going back, before us, Britain was the superpower. Before Britain, it was whoever. Before that, it was whoever. The Chinese. And if you go back, so every 150, well, one historian said every 50 to 150 years, sometimes 200 years, superpowers will change. It ebbs and flows, right? So we're at our peak, if you will, a few years ago as a superpower, and now we're not. We're not there.
Past your peak. Yeah,
we're past our peak right now. So that's going to be an interesting thing.
Well, you're not doing it. I mean, Trump's not doing his best to endear the rest of the world, America, to the rest of the world, is he? He's doing everything against that. Okay, I mean, the whole thing about tariffs. I mean, to a certain extent, I have to agree with some of that policy. It's it has been skewed against America, but just the way that he goes about doing things. I mean, everybody you hear just says, well, yeah, we'd like to do this, or we'd like to export this, or we'd like to import this, but Trump could change his point of view in at the drop of a hat, and everybody's back to guessing again, which seems to be his default. But it doesn't help, does it? Investing in the US or even having a US partner in your own country, because let's say it's a fictitious country in Africa, and all Americans think, oh great, it's got lots of minerals or whatever, or oil, we're going to invest, etc., chemicals, and all of a sudden Trump says, oh, I don't like the name of that country, I don't like the people that come from there, and we'll put them on our blacklist. Where does that leave everybody? So America's not helping itself at all with this sort of yo-yo politics, yo-yo economics, which you're currently going through.
And the yo-yos are made where? China. No, I'm just kidding.
In China.
But no, obviously. I think it actually. I'm reading what Mr. Jones is writing. One of our fans. He's talking about how, which is true, America's in denialism, whether it's about the RMB, about BRICS. He's talking about fascism.
Well, where's the vision? I mean, it's because where's the actual vision for a reformed, positive future? I don't know anybody in our leadership that's showing anything except pointing at problems, and showing any real solutions for any of
Well,
this.
Fetterman, I like Fetterman. I think Fetterman's actually, I think he actually, he says certain things that are solutions. I think, what's his face, Shapiro from Pennsylvania, the governor, I think those two guys together could probably move us forward. The Republicans and everybody are more just worried about taking more control, and the Democrats are just going, you're just not nice. So that's not going to work. So you need somebody with balls that's going to come and go, listen. And Roll and I talk about this on Vaguely News. We talked about it yesterday, which you can see the show on this channel. I look at the podcast. But America was already great. There's no making America great again. We were already great. We were a great country. In our own mind, maybe not to the rest of the world, but we were already great. You can make it better. And we now are making it worse. And so there's a difference. And the problem is, and I've said this before, and we say this on a lot of the shows, I don't disagree with a lot of the policies and the thought process that Trump, I don't want to say the Republicans because they seem like they're all whack jobs, but Trump says, I want to do this, and I'm like, I like that. You want to cut spending, you want to control immigration, I like a lot of it. What I don't like, and where I have a problem with this, is that we don't think through. Like when Al Gore and Clinton were in office, Al Gore cut a couple, 100 billion or 200 billion, whatever it was, out of the budget. And they did it quietly. Not like, I have a chainsaw and I got here illegally. Anyway, thank you, Steve Bannon. So that needs to change. The immigration thing, I agree. You need to get rid of violent criminals and blah, 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 blah.
Right. But if he just focused on that, it would have been okay. He did not do that.
Now he's going after waitresses and moms. And the bad part for ICE, and I don't know why they must think they're on The Apprentice. Stop videoing this shit. Like, if you're going to go after a violent gang member, go get the gang member, arrest them, and get them out of here. Going after, like the one lady in the one we talked about this last week, they arrested Mary Ann, who was a waitress at their restaurant, and the whole town voted for Trump, and they're all like, well, we didn't want to go after Mary Ann. Well, he told you that's what he was going to do. So it's kind of the way that his administration is doing things. And there's no adult in the room that goes, listen, I love this concept. It's a great concept. But can we do it this way? Get it done. And then you can tell everybody how great you are because you got it done.
It's not happening that way.
No, we're doing it like boom, 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 boom. And then even with this, whatever it was called, Doge or whatever the hell they did, they rehired like almost everybody back. Because they got rid of people. In some cases. right. But it's sort of like Nuclear Regulatory Commission. We're getting rid of everybody. And someone's like, excuse me, they guard our nuclear stockpile. Okay, bring them back. The Veterans Affairs people, right? The veterans are like, we're going to drive our World War II tanks to Washington. They're like, all right, bring them all back. Scientists. It's like, seriously, think through this. Just because you're trying to appease a base, that's a problem. Kind of like Israel and Iran right now. Trump's going to be, in the next 2 weeks, he's going to make a decision. Congratulations, 2 weeks. Yay. So I'm sure someone's trying to negotiate this deal.
Is that not default for Mr. Trump? Everything's
here's the problem with that. And Steve Bannon, who Trump listens to, said if Trump goes and gets involved in the Israel-Iran war, that will upset his base, his MAGA base. That will upset them. So the question is he really going to do it? Probably not. I think it's a lot of rhetoric. Unless he doesn't care.
Well, I've been watching bits and pieces of Fox because I've got nothing to do. It always amuses me enormously. And what Fox has already started to do is talk about it in a different way. We were talking yesterday about the bunker buster. Now, the bunker buster, if that got dropped on the Iranian nuclear plant, right, then that would be technically just helping the Israelis. It would not be seen, it's not technically an act of war because they're just kind of loaning it out to somebody to drop. Although it has to be an American pilot.
You can't use it after you use it once.
Yeah, it has to be an American pilot, it has to be that American airplane that nobody else has. It has to come from some American base somewhere, all of the above. But according to Fox, it's not necessarily considered to be an act of war by the US. So it's all right to drop the bomb. There you go. Problem solved.
Well, Fetterman says just do it. Fetterman's saying just do it.
I agree. Get it over with already.
Get rid of the regime in Iran and get on.
Well, what will happen then is that the Iranians will start bombing the crap out of all the US bases who don't have a iron shield above them. And the body bags will start piling up, and then here we go, we're off again.
In
And then he
another
won't be,
war.
and then Trump won't be able to say, "I'm the only president who never had a war." Even if he dropped the bomb, it would not be seen as a war. It'd just be seen like just helping some mates out, you know. So just help the few Israelis
The
out.
problem with all of this is that nobody thinks of anything other than tomorrow. No one's thinking of 3, 5, 10 years down the road. So great, you want to bomb their nuclear plant thing because you don't want them to have a bomb. I totally get that. But I always use this analogy. You don't see us bombing North Korea nuclear power plant stuff, because the difference with Iran is they don't have any friends. Russia's not going to get involved. No one's going to help them. So you can obliterate them. It's like a bunch of, professional NFL football players playing kindergartners. That's what this is, if you will. If you go to North Korea, now it's not just a bunch of grown men picking on little kids. It's grown men against grown men, not because they have a better military. It's because they have a sugar daddy named China. And, that's why we don't do it. I understand why you don't want Iran to have the bomb. But Iran, I'm not so much. Israel's worried about it because Israel's like, they're going to blow the shit out of us. I get that. But North Korea is sending missiles in the air. I mean, some of them work, some of them don't. Some of their vessels make it out of ports, some tip over. Right. But, it's sort of like, well, you should stop everybody, because then theoretically they're all a threat. But it's not. It's just a game. Now, in Israel's case, I understand. But it's like, this is just this game that we keep playing. Yeah. And one day, Missile Boy is going to be like, this is a fun game. Let's really see if our shit works. And he's going to send one off, and it's going to go boom. Wherever it goes, boom. Then we're going to be like, oh, now what do we do? And that's what I think people are forgetting.
Same with Taiwan. Yeah, I mean, the Brits put they went through the Straits of Taiwan yesterday with a cruiser. Yeah. And the Chinese have said, "Oh no, you can't do that. It's our water." Yeah. But they're the only people who call it that. Mind you, there are countries.
We have the Gulf of America, so that's ours.
Exactly. There are, there are. Yeah, you just call it whatever you like. Potato.
There you go. You can call it Mike's place.
Mike's place, yeah, Mike's cap, as they say. Well, so, and then all of a sudden you've got all sorts of other stuff happening. There's like I was reading on the BBC, I think we're reporting that some Chinese planes like cargo planes had landed in Tehran. Mm. So what are they doing there? Are they hoping that somebody's going to drop a bomb on them?
No, they're selling imitation Louis Vuitton purses, David. Stop it. That's what they're doing.
They're just taking maybe they're taking mystery boxes there.
Mystery boxes there as well. Hey, one of our fans just wrote, Trump's lack of plan has led to chaos, division, distrust, and real harm. Governing without thinking as catastrophic consequences for all of us.
Look, I think the focus on division is not just here in the United States. The division is all across the world. People are divided in whether it's Israel and Iran or Korea, North Korea, South Korea, and everybody in between, and all around the world. The division is everywhere. It's endemic. It's being pushed by bad actors on social media and throughout the internet. And at the end of the day, it keeps the power structures as they are. And I think it's pretty clear that that none of this is really going to change because the fights are just going to keep going until the people wake up. The 8 billion people who aren't running the show wake up and say, we're not playing this game anymore. There's plenty to go around, and we've got to figure out a new way to distribute it.
Plenty of drones because we'll all be controlled by drones. I think that seems to be the technology.
That'll be made in China. So there you go. So no, it's bad just because as a globe, and Middle East and Africa, especially the Middle East, they've been fighting forever.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, back in the day, way back, before this ridiculous stuff, before the Crusades and the church, Muslims, Christians, and Jews all lived in Jerusalem together, and no one had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no one had a problem. Same in Persia. In Persia. It was like the 1960s. there was 100,000, 200,000 Jews living in Tehran. So yeah, it comes and it goes. It's all
Yeah.
to do with religion. Somebody said it to me the other day. They said, "Oh, I've just realised that a lot of these wars are based on religion." And I was thinking, okay.
Well, not even just. I mean, I don't know. You look at it's using religion or using spirituality and religion to keep the people distracted from really playing the games that are really being played. I think that's
Either that or the churches have done or the religious bodies have done such a good job in the past of all the propaganda about what they are and what they stand for, that it's easy for people to relate to the fact that, well, I'm a Christian, so therefore I'm an unbeliever, I'm an infidel.
Who's an
When
infidel?
I'm looked at by my Muslim brothers. I mean,
Right.
that's something which is still every weekend spoken about in religious Islamic and religious schools and.
Are you talking about the guys
vice
with the
versa.
dog collar? The guys with the dog collar that play with 4-year-old boys? Are you talking about them? This is where we're going to get our religious advice from? Those guys. Really? This is what people sit and listen to every Sunday and waste an hour of their life to some guy with a dog collar?
And when
I
they're
know what's
told
called.
that their whole future is being, brought to, in danger by a culture which was equally as old and equally as advanced as they are, but it's a non-Christian,
Right.
then that's very easy for them to take that on board. Oh, well, they must be different then. Well, different is dangerous. Different is something which you can use to manipulate. And if you can't get things done right, it's like the immigrants. I mean, it's really funny. If Trump wanted every immigrant to leave out of the US, you'd all have to go. There'd just be Native Americans. There wouldn't be anybody else.
No, they actually ICE detained a Native American a couple of weeks ago. It was in the news, and then they interviewed him, and he was chuckling through the whole interview. He says, "Really, you're detaining me for being an illegal alien?" He goes, "You're the illegal aliens. We were here well before you." And he's from I want to say it was either the Cherokee or Sioux tribe. So, like he said, his people have been here for millennia. So he just thought I thought that was very, very interesting when they detained an American Indian or an Indian or whatever indigenous person.
How do you square that circle then? How can a country which is built on immigration, your very wealth, your culture, the good things that Americans do, that's come only through immigrants
legal
all over the world.
Legal immigration.
Well, some of them were legal, some of them were just.
I know Elon Musk not got here illegally. Technically, according to Steve Bannon, should be deported.
Yeah, but what about all these people who just trucked up at Ellis Island? They hadn't been to a passport office or a visa office.
They went through Ellis Island, so that's how they got here legally. They went through the process.
Yeah, but they just trucked up, did they not? So it's not like.
Well, they were all put on a ship. They came on a ship. You went to Ellis Island. You got stamped. You got written in a book. Hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger a couple of days ago was on a talk show, and he said it the best. And we all know Arnold's not from America because the accent. So he came to America when he was 21 years old. And what he said, and I think this is very relevant, he said, when you come to America, you as an immigrant, you are a guest in somebody's home. And you need to follow the rules of their home. So like if you go to stay at someone's house, you try to keep it clean, you make the bed, you do whatever, right? So he said, so if you come here illegally, then yes, you should be deported. Right now, you don't have to do like the big publicity crap. He said, but if you come here as an immigrant and you go through the process and you do everything you're supposed to, then you, as an immigrant, need to give back to America. Whether it's you do work, you do. So I thought his little 2-minute diatribe he did it was The View. Someone sent me the clip. I was like, that's very interesting because here's an immigrant, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody knows it, and he's saying you have to do it the right way, and you also have to remember. It's not your home. And I thought that was a very interesting way to look at it.
You're going there to contribute to the place that you're going to and to participate in what is theoretically a better way of life.
Correct.
And you should participate in that. But
I agree.
They're not all doing that.
I know.
Yeah, well, I was technically an illegal or an alien for 40 odd years till I got my Dutch passport. I only got my Dutch passport after I retired because it was a lot easier to do it then. But you every time you go, you have to go to the immigration police every 10 years, and then it went down to every 5 years, and now I think every 2 or 3 years. So and every time you have to ask, may I stay?
Yep.
Yeah, and they pull your jacket. They have a look, see what you've got. No outstanding fines, no issue with tax, etc., etc. Your status is stable. Right, off you go. You can come back into the society for another 10 years and contribute. Pay tax and do whatever you need to do. So I can appreciate and there is a strange certainty about it. Every time I went last time, I think just before the end of 24, and I sat there in the immigration police, and in the immigration office with people from every nationality and colour, and I still didn't feel comfortable, even after 40 years, to think whether or not I would be welcome to stay. So it's more to do with my own personal paranoia. I appreciate that, but that the people who are not necessarily born in a country but want to live there, we always have this there's uneasiness about us. There's always that one little pebble still left in your shoe.
I think American citizens are having that thought right now. Even if you're an American citizen, they're having that one little pebble in your shoe right now, because apparently we're racial profiling and everything else. So it's going to be an interesting. What do we got? 3 years left of this guy.
3 years
interesting
left.
3 years. I have money though that there won't be an election in 2028. I'm just
no.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I've been right so far on the Trumpy. I've been right. So I'm just saying, in 2028, there's going to be
state of war. It'll be some war with something or other.
It's going to be. And listen, it's an interesting time. But Africa, go back to that really quick. Developing nation, could be a super powerhouse as a continent. Take them about 20 years if they can straighten all their stuff out. That would include South Africa. In the Middle East, it's good luck and God bless, because we do a lot of stuff in the UAE, and so far they're not affected, and Saudi Arabia is not affected, and Qatar's not affected. But if Iran decides to go nuts, and, they're only a few miles away. Not they're more than a few, but I'm just saying, missile veered off course. This veers off. Then you have an escalation now of a whole region. So to Israel's credit, I get what they're doing. And I'm assuming behind closed doors, under the sheets, with the lights off, these other countries are having dialogues with Israel going, whatever you need, you let us know. Because they also realize that they're bringing a lot of Westerners in, different religions in, including Jews. And I think they're trying to protect what they've got as well. So I don't think Saudi and Qatar, Omar, and the UAE are sitting back. I think behind, like I said, closed doors, I think there's a lot of, what do you need from us? Because they realize they're just, a few miles away. Like I said, I know it's more of we meant to hit Israel with that kind of a strike. So I think this has a more global and a more regional implication than we actually realize and that we actually look at.
Just the Iranians have intercontinental missiles, which could reach certainly Amsterdam or Brussels.
Well, no one's going to miss that place. We're fine. It's okay.
Just to give you an idea of the capabilities that they have. But it's
listen. If they had a missile that could reach the United States, we would have bombed them, nuked them, carpet bombed them. It would be Hiroshima all over again. But because it's a regional one, we're like, it's okay. We'll help you out with the bunker buster. We'll do this. We'll do that. And by the way, under the War Power Act, if I'm not mistaken, the president has it's either 30 or 90 days or something where he doesn't have to go to Congress and go and ask for, like, we're going to war. So theoretically, so Michael's point of seeking, or David's point, like, you can give them an airplane and a bunker buster, destroy it. It's kind of like it's a loaner program. We want to see if we like it. We're dating. So he doesn't have to do anything. He can go come back, and he's done.
Dip in and out of Fox and listen to the way that they're lining all the MAGA people up. So don't worry about it. It's not a war. It's just meats out, basically.
The problem is everybody on all sides is getting riled up and not coming together. Even in America, they're just not coming together. because that's how the media wants it to be divided. So let's
Except here
recognize
on our show.
Except
on our show,
on
we want everyone to come. We want everyone to come together and get naked and do one big group hug, and we'll have a big global orgy, and then you'll have a new problem. You won't know who to thank, and that'll be perfect. I'm just saying. But it's sad because the news is, you can't sell news if there's no news, right? Everything, if you wrote every day, everything's perfect. Everyone's getting along.
Right.
Okay. What are you going to talk about? Right. So it's one of those things. So you've got to stoke the fire.
There'd be better things to talk about. That would be the issue.
That's true.
Yeah,
Medicine.
There's a famous line from, I think, from one of the Paul Simon songs. It's got from The Only Living Boy in New York, where he says, "I get all the news I want from the weather report."
Right.
And I think that's okay. So maybe that's where we should just worry about the weather.
Focus on the weather.
Yeah, I did. I looked at the weather, and it's still there. So anyway, we're good. So I think this is interesting, guys. We're going to go into lost and found.
I hope Deandra is right here. Actually, people are coming together in record numbers.
Right.
But they're not getting any coverage. If that's the case, which I do see what he's saying. It does happen. Reasonable people are collecting and coming together, but there's no coverage on it. So.
Well, there is. Technically, if you look at what was happening in LA, people were protesting peacefully. And if you look at last Saturday, when they were doing whatever, the anti-King crap or whatever they were running around doing, those people all came together for a single cause, right? Had their signs and doing the thing. So people do come together. The problem is we only seem to come together when there's a crisis.
Yeah,
you know what
right.
I mean? It's like, no, nobody knows this, but I'm from New York. So, hey, I made another dollar from the tourist bureau. But when 9/11 happened, everybody, whether you were born and raised there, whether you were an immigrant, you had just moved there, everyone was a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Everyone helped each other. Everyone for 30 days, no horns blew, no nothing, everything was just, everybody was there just to help each other. It was fascinating. And then I remember sometime toward the end of October, I heard a cab, bam, 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 and I'm like, no, New York's back. It's the same when Scully landed the plane on the Hudson, because he wanted to see if it would float. Once again, New Yorkers and people from New Jersey, and we didn't even know they existed. Everyone became a New Yorker at that point, right? Everyone came to rescue everybody. So why does it take a crisis, whether it's global, regional, in your city, for people to go, oh, we need to get together? Why can't we just look at this as we're all stuck on the little blue planet together, third rock from the sun, make a left at Pluto when you come in from the other universes? I'm helping my galactic friends get here quicker to destroy us. Why can't we just all look at that and go, we should all get along and help each other? Instead of doing this acquisition game, or I have to have more commas than you.
Right.
Why? What does that do for you? So no one's going to remember you 1,000 years from now. You're not doing anything to be remembered. You're not doing a legacy like old money. And we've talked about this, where old money builds parks. And when you go to a park like Central Park, or you go and look at a museum, you're like, oh, the Guggenheimer. Why? Because the Guggenheimers did this. Or what did J.D. Rockefeller did, other than, oil. He did this. Oh, what did this one? And they don't do the new money's just look at my mega yacht. Look at me sending my girlfriend in a rocket ship with her friends that look like my penis. That doesn't do anything. And until the nouveau riche understand what it actually means to have wealth, then you have a better planet. Until then, you're going to have strife, division, and at some point, God forbid, you have civil war, because as I keep saying, you have 8.1 billion people. When 7 billion of them decide that they're done with this crap and they want to take a picnic, you're not going to do much.
Nouveau Rich are doing their bit, because Mr. Bezos, he's basically closed Venice off for a week because he's having a wedding. So,
wonderful.
Who's he marrying?
I don't know. Somebody who said yes.
Oh, well, that's crazy. I want to see that prenup. So, it's good to close Venice off. I've been there. It's a nice beach, but I don't like it. And I know you're talking about Italy. I'm being an asshole. Anyway, should we go to, as we say, the lost and found?
Let's do lost and found.
Let's do lost and found. All right.
Ever wonder how millions vanish into thin air, or how a single dollar can make all the difference? Join us on Lost and Found, where we dive into the wild world of financial mysteries. From misplaced fortunes to unexpected windfalls, we unravel the stories of people, companies, organizations, and even governments who've lost and found millions. Lost and found, because every dollar has a story.
Yes, it does, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back to the story. So, all right. So who wants to go first?
Chinese priorities. I've got a big one. I've got a big one.
Hey, wait, whoa. That's not this show. We don't talk about how big it is. We talk only about the news here. So
That's
go ahead.
That's right. Well, this one is the Kung Fu Movie Heritage Project, Classics AI Revitalization Project. So these guys at a bunch of studios at the Shanghai International Film Festival on Thursday, Thursday, they announced that they're going to use AI to reimagine 100 classics of Kung Fu movies. Everything from Lee's Fist of Fury to Chan's Drunken Master, Once Upon a Time in China. So these are classic films that they want to reimagine and have AI do the reimagining. So this is very exciting, because if you're into Kung Fu movies, which if you're not, you will be after this. This is going to be big. I think this is going to be a very big positive move for Chinese culture.
I like it, and if they can sync up the words where the mouth moves at the same time they're
speaking, that's part of the charm, right? That's part of the charm.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're reinventing, using AI to make more movies about violence. That's
okay, all right.
Oh, stop it!
It's kung fu violence. It's not as bad as what we're typically exposed to.
Mr. Jones says the AI stuff is getting out of hand, and I hate to tell you that, Mr. Jones, but this whole show, we're not even real. It's all AI. Now we know where you live. The robots are coming for you, but don't worry about that. You'll be fine.
The drones. We've sent them off already.
The drones are on their way. So, my story is on AI as well. But I like that, the Kung Fu resurgence. I'm very excited about this, because I love the Bruce Lee movies. Yeah, I want to see what they're going to do with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That should be a good if they remake that one. But that was pretty perfect, so I don't know how they're going to remake that one. I'm just saying, but we'll see.
We'll see. The studios are going to try.
There you go. My friend asked me this question. I didn't know how to answer it. He goes, how do you know your wife, how do you know your girlfriend is getting fat? And I didn't know. And he says, because she fits into your wife's clothes. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting thing. I have strange friends. All right. Hey, listen, I have an artificial intelligence one. This is up Michael's thing, because Michael talks to artificial intelligence like it's his brother. The problem with AI chatbots telling people what they want to hear, Michael, according to OpenAI, DeepMind, and a whole bunch of others, the growing issue of the modeling is producing responses that are too schizophrenic. It says that AI just keeps telling people stuff they want to hear to make them feel better about themselves, and it doesn't give them the factual truths, and it's just basically giving them schizophrenic type answers. And I read it's in the FT. It was last week, and I'm just cracking up reading the whole article. I'm just like, that's our whole crew when they talk about AI. It's like, I talked to AI and I told AI this, and AI said I was wonderful and my shirt looked good, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's like, I want AI from New York. I want a New Yorker AI. When you go,
you need to have cultural regional AIs. That's what's going to happen.
No. Just this should be a New Yorker AI. It's like, how's your day going? Hey, fuck you. How's your day? Oh, don't ask me about my day. You know what I mean? I want AI that's like AI type of thing. So, but I just thought that was interesting that I think that AI chatbots are giving schizophrenic answers. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's really good.
That was just for Michael.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful.
Yep. Yeah. I suppose both of you agree on that. Then, if it's a schizophrenic answer,
I'm not schizophrenic. Yes, you are. Okay, I'm good. So we're good. It's fine. I feel better now.
Okay, so
that's a win. That's a win.
That's a
win.
Yeah.
What do you got, David?
Wait. Before we go to that, Mr. Jones is a singer. And it's Tom Jones, apparently, who's on our show. Mr. Jones says, I'm a musician. I hope AI doesn't learn how to sing. I won't have a job. Mr. Jones, I hate to tell you this, but on our channel, if you go to the playlist and look under music, or the playlist under music, David, the gentleman right here, he has made about 30 or 50 AI songs, and a few of them are in the top 10. globally, just to let you know.
Pretty
So
good.
yes, it has learned how to sing. But you, my friend, can come on a show if you like, and we can discuss AI and music and what that means to a musician. That would be very cool.
Yeah,
And
that
there
would
you
be
go.
really
That would be a good
I would-
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get a hold of us, leave your email or something, and we will get a hold of you, and we'll see what we can do with that. All right. Sorry, David. I just saw that, and it just kind of made me chuckle.
No,
Because you're
that's-
taking
that's-
Mr.
that's-
Jones's job. I hope you're happy with yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, ecstatic.
Okay.
Ecstatic. Yeah, batteries. Batteries to support store all this free solar power which we've got. I know Michael's interested in it. I know I'm interested in it. As a Dutch company that's now found a way of storing this stuff using salt water. Simple as that. And then that's and by that using that process, it then makes the water drinkable. There's a little promo film from them. So I'd just like to.
Do we know
quickly
that we're
run
not going to have this flag the account and all this stuff with the promo film?
Because there's no music in it. So
No, it doesn't matter. Is it copywritten or anything? You know we have to ask this.
No.
Okay.
No. We're
Show
all
us the
right.
promo.
We are Aqua Battery. Our vision is a net zero power system in which renewable energy is affordable and available at all times. In a net zero world, long duration energy storage will be crucial to deliver electricity at times when the sun does not shine or the wind does not blow, and to help power grids deal with intermittent renewable sources. Aqua Battery is a next generation battery, storing electricity in just table salt and water. This is how it works. Excess electricity is stored in our battery by allowing a saltwater solution to flow through membrane stacks to produce acid and base. The acid and base are then stored in separate reservoirs. When electricity is needed, the battery is discharged by flowing the acid and base solutions back through the membrane stack to mix and form salt water. This process generates electricity. Our discharging power capacity and storage duration can be scaled separately. Increasing storage duration is as simple as adding reservoirs with salt water. That's why the Aqua Battery is highly suitable for storage beyond 8 hours. Table salt and water are very powerful ingredients. They are available everywhere and abundantly, making our battery affordable and locally scalable. Being non-flammable and non-toxic, they make the Aqua Battery inherently safe. And with a fully recyclable system, it's also sustainable. Curious to find out how Aqua Battery can help you? Visit www.aquabattery.nl.
Okay.
I just so you know there was music with that, and number two, there was music with that, and number two, that's very interesting. Did we get a check from them for basically giving them a minute and 40-second commercial?
No, but I just thought because there's always this continuous debate about battery storage, and you've got these students from one of the technical universities who said, well, we're guys, hello, we're here, hello,
Yep.
And it's so simple.
Right.
But
That's actually very cool technology.
Will it be successful? Probably not, because there's probably lots of petrochemical companies who don't want it to be successful.
Well,
it will be. It's been on our show, and our millions of fans now will do something with it.
Right.
Do they what do they need to grow? An investment? What do they need? Tell me more.
Yeah, they just won an award. They won a European Sustainability Award. So
nice.
Which is great, good, because it means they've got something to put on the wall of their porta cabin, because obviously that doesn't come probably with any money.
No.
So it's just like, oh, we won an award. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, we won an award too, and it doesn't come with any money. So there you go. Very cool. That was very cool. I like that. That was nice. That's an interesting story. Well,
for sustainable.
Why don't we reach out to the Sustainable Boys, since they're in the Netherlands, where you are, Mr. David? That's before Iran bombed you guys, and have them come on the show and talk about their technology. Yeah, that would be. You have to reach out to them, though, David. Just saying. Yeah. I may want to. It's just a thought.
Yeah. Well, I'll do that. I'll reach out to them.
Okay. Yeah, why not? It'd be kind of cool to hear about it and see it. We've already played the video. Might as well give them an hour. Just go from there. Guys, this has been, may I just say, fascinating. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm that excited. And it was very good. I'm glad we've touched a little on Africa, the Middle East, and the rest of the planet. Thank you to all the new fans that are watching. We rebroadcast this on Saturday. If you don't want to look at our pretty faces, why? I don't know why. You can catch us on Saturday mornings when it comes out podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. All the links are below. And other than that, boys, that's all I got. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Anything you want to say?
Next week, Anthony Asbury and Guy Standing talking about the pros and cons of universal basic income.
Oh, God, it won't be us. Thank God.
So maybe they'll stick to the brief, which is what we did today. So
we don't ever stick to anything. I don't even know why we put a title of the show out for the live show. We just say whatever shit we want to talk about. Just join the show for it.
Clickbait, Stephen. Simple as that.
Well, I know that's why I do it. Stop it. So don't want to tell the fans. But yeah, next week we have Guy Standing and the other guys. So that's going to be really good. We're looking forward to that show. So join us here live next Friday, and you can ask your questions. And that will be an interesting show to ask questions on, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Good show. And boys, let's do it. See you all next week. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend.